Hello there, my name is Armando. Many years ago, I began to think of my body as a kind of beautiful little spaceship that I've been given to navigate through life and experience the world with my five senses. Some may even say six. So, the better I take care of this spaceship, the further I will get in life and the smoother will be the journey. So, in view of that, I started listening to my body a lot more closely and paying attention to the signs it was already giving me. And in line with that, I wanted to share an observation that began in a very ordinary conversation, but kind of stayed with me because of how universal it really is. So, a few months ago, while I was spending time with my family in Brazil, which I normally do between Christmas and February, I was talking to my dad about aging bodies and the small physical changes that seem to surprise people as the years go by. So, my father was always an extremely thin man, almost to an annoying point. So, one of these people who could eat almost anything in almost any quantity for decades without visible consequences. So, a metabolism many would envy. But over the last few years, he's in his mid to late 70s now, he developed what many men casually call a beer belly. And like many people do, he attributed this almost entirely to aging, as if it were an unavoidable biological destiny. What I found interesting was not the belly itself, but the underlying assumption. The idea that the body suddenly becomes unpredictable or unfair with age, when in reality, something much simpler is often happening. As we get older, our bodies typically require less energy. There is less movement, slower metabolism, reduced muscle mass, different hormonal environments, even. Yet, when you look at people's patterns, eating frequently remains unchanged. Portions stay the same, habits stay the same, sometimes indulgences even increase over time. And in my father's case, something very human had quietly entered the picture: desserts, sometimes even with second helpings, snacking at work, and snacking with coffee almost daily. So, small pleasures that had never really been part of his routine before. And interestingly, nothing dramatic, nothing excessive, just subtle additions that accumulated over time. And this is where the situation becomes almost mathematical rather than mysterious, like we try to believe. Energy intakes slowly exceeds energy expenditure, not because of aging itself, but because behavior and physiology drift apart. There is something deeply comforting in blaming age, but also something very empowering in recognizing that many changes remain responsive even to small adjustments. So, nothing like extreme diets or rigid rules, just small, gentle recalibrations, slightly smaller portions, more awareness and frequency, more sensitivity to timing, especially. What this conversation reminded me of is that bodies are not betraying us, they are responding continuously to how we live. Yeah, age influences the equation, but rarely dictates the outcome entirely, like we like to believe. And often, the most effective changes are not dramatic interventions. Like I said before, they are quiet, almost invisible corrections sustained over time and with far less struggle than we normally imagine. I wonder, does that resonate or sound familiar to your life experience in any way?